Hello, friends. Hello. How are you doing? All right, you're welcome to FLC. And in case this is your first time here, I ask that you sit back, just sit back, enjoy your time out here. Tuning in with us today, I say a big welcome to you, and I hope you won't regret tuning in with us today. Actually, what we do here is to share the life applicable lessons from books I have read. Some people may not like to read, and I read. I'm a librarian. I read, and so what I do is to share the life applicable lessons that I've got from the books I read. But we are going to do something quite different today. In this episode, we're actually going to tackle a question from one of us. So this question reads, "Hello Didi, I love to read, but I don't know how to start." It sounds funny, right? I love to read, but I don't know how to start. Most times I get distracted that I can't even finish a small volume. What do? I want to read books as voluminous as To Reading in Love. Okay, if you remember, you will know that the first life applicable lessons I shared here with us was from Reading in Love, and I actually showed you the number of pages. I also showed you the volume of the book. If you look carefully, you will discover that Redeeming Love is really voluminous, and this person wants to get to that level where she will be able to read the Redeeming Love. Right? Fine. Let us go straight to what we have today. I don't want to actually waste so much time trying to say other things. But don't forget, you are on with your girl Didi. This is Didi. We are together in this class. That is just what I have to say now. So you're welcome. Straight to the points. Now I have to share 5 things or 5 ways if you're one of those people that actually wants to learn how to read voluminous books or how to get glued to your books. I have 5 points here. I like to use 5 points because this is 5 lessons class. Even though we're not sharing lessons now, but I actually want to use 5 points to talk to this person that wants to learn how to read voluminous books. So the first point here is start with small volumes. That is interesting. If you actually want to learn how to start reading, or you want to know how to keep progressing to the point where you read voluminous books, I suggest you start with small volumes. When you start with small volumes of books, it actually takes away that phobia from you. It takes away, there is this phobia people have when they see voluminous books. So what you do is what? Don't start with voluminous books. Don't start with medium-sized books. I suggest you start with small volumes of books because these are the ones that will remove that phobia first of all. Because when you are able to conquer that inward phobia of reading voluminous books, you are on already to that destination of reading voluminous books. So how you overcome that phobia, first of all, is to use small volumes of books. Don't use larger volumes. Don't use medium-sized volumes. Just get small volumes of books, say 20 pages, 15 pages, just small volumes of books. And that is number one, to overcome the phobia, first of all, which is very important before you can proceed to the point of reading voluminous books. The second point I have here is get interesting books. Now, aside getting small volumes of books, you also have to get interesting books. There are small volumes of books that are boring. And if you want to progress to the point of reading voluminous books, I tell you, trust me, you don't want to start with boring books. Boring books will be a big turn off to you. Boring books will not help you to glue to the book. Certain books, when at the beginning they are just boring. When you get to the middle, they seem a little interesting. Then at the end of it, they seem to get better. But you wouldn't want to start with such a book. You start with such a book that will actually entice you to stay glued to that book. Because if you don't stay glued to that book, and say for instance you wouldn't be able to finish 15 pages book in 2 days because it's boring, you discover that you just lose interest in reading actually. So what you do is get interesting books that will make you stay glued. For instance, now you are seeing a program on the television. There are certain programs that I'm not interested. You just want to go and sleep. But there are certain programs or certain movies that you'll be seeing just because it's started interestingly. You are interested in knowing what happened, how it ended, and all of those things. So that is the reason. The second point here is for you to get an interesting book. Apart from this, now the third point is go get bold prints. Yes, if you get small volumes and interesting books as well, but they are in smaller fonts, they are not bold enough, you will discover that it is also a turn off for you. It will not help you to actually read. Sometimes you strain your eyes, especially in the night. Sometimes they don't get you there. So get bold fonts. If you're actually getting any book that you want to use to start reading, get a bold font book. A book that is bold, that even without having to strain your eyes, even with the light from your phone, though they are not advisable, but there are certain books you'll be reading at every point in time. You just want to look through and know if you can get to the end of it and know what happened at the end. So get books that are in bold fonts. In typesetting, sometimes they would want to use smaller fonts, sometimes they will use bold fonts, and even the spacing too, the line spacing. Get the ones that have great line spacing and the ones that are also bold. This thing will make you interested in that book. The fourth point I have here now is sometimes you get illustrated books. Yes, this can be a great way for children, for you to get your children reading. I think I also have to do something on that. But this is a great way to get your child get reading, but get to read. Yeah, if you want to entice your child to read, you get books that have illustrations. Actually, if your one is just not, you've tried so many times and you've seen it's not working, I actually have to say this to you: get books that have illustrations. They may entice you, they may get you to read. Yes, they may get you to read. Some people, we are not all the same. Yeah, we are not all the same. So because I have a father who loved to read, I initiated the habit of reading very early. So I am not saying that I'm better, but I know there are certain of us that are really interested in getting to do this. There are other things you do that I can't do. There are other places where you have your strength, I don't have my strength. So we're not trying to boast. I am only trying to get this point to you so that it can help you. When you use these points, trust me, you will get reading. You start reading, and once you start reading, within a space of short time, you're already reading voluminous books. It's not difficult. Let me just tell you, it is not. I'm not going to say it's challenging. Reading is not difficult when you start at the right pace and with the right things, and where you obey the right instructions like these ones I'm giving to you now. It's not difficult. So let's get back to the points now. The fourth point is get books that have illustrations if you can. If you can lay your books on small volumes, interesting ones, bold fonts, then you can also try to see if you can get books that are illustrated. They may help you. Don't feel insulted right now, irrespective of how old you are. I may suggest you get secondary school, primary school books. Sincerely, I read those things. In fact, it got to a point in my life when I was in junior secondary, yeah, in Nigeria here, when I was in junior secondary, anything I lay my hand on, I had to read it. Sincerely, I had to read them, irrespective. Nursery, primary, secondary, whatever caught my attention, I had to read. So when I talk about this, getting books that have illustrations, you can consider some of the books they read or they read now in secondary school, or some of the books they've read, or some of their recommended sometimes um, jam recommended books are boring. I may not really have to recommend that to you, but If you're a mother, you can start with your children's books. If you're a single, you can start with your younger siblings' books. If you don't have younger siblings, you can go to your local library and get books for children. Like where I am, we have children's library here. While I was in school, there were times I had to go there, pick some of this small volume, the illustrated one, just like these things I've been giving you now. I had to do them. It helped me. So if you can get books that are illustrated, it's really going to go a long way to help you. Now the next point is increase your volumes with time. Yes, this is important. By the time you discover that you're already getting glued to books, try to increase the volumes. If you started with 15 pages, you can increase the next time to 20, but not immediately. Just when you discover that you are already improving, reading like you can now try, you read 15 pages in 3 days, in 4 days, then you try to see if you can read it in 2 days. You try to see if you can still read 15-page book in one day. Well, by the time you discover that you have improved very well, you cannot think of increasing your volumes. Don't just say, okay, let me read 15 pages book today and tomorrow you get to 20. No, it may discourage you. So what you do is you try to learn your progress with the number of days you can read them. That is very much important. So increase your volumes with time. By the time you feel you are progressing, you can increase the volumes of book you read, and then with the level of progress you are making. Now the next one here, which is the sixth, want to add this one instead of five. Let me add the sixth point is read in bits and remain consistent. This is very important. Read in bits and remain consistent. You may not have to say because for the past 1-2 days I haven't looked into the book I got from my local library or from my library or I downloaded. I think I'm not making any No, don't get discouraged. Whatever your status at the starting point, it seems challenging, but you don't have to get discouraged by that. What you do is just be consistent. Be consistent. There was a book I got sometime. Really, it was boring, but I promised myself I was going to finish that book, and I just had to. Though I didn't read every day, yes, but I had to maintain my consistency. I read in bits. I can read one page today, I drop it. The next day, try at my leisure. I try to look at the next page. I dropped it. I kept doing this until it got to the point where I got really interested and I had to finish the book. So you read in bits and then keep your consistency. Don't just read in bits and film, you just leave it. So read in bits and keep your consistency. It will help you to improve. So let me run through the point I've made today. Read small volumes, read interesting ones, read the ones in bold fonts, read the ones, if you can lay your hands on illustrated ones, try them. Increase the volumes with time depending on your level of progress, and then read in bits, but remain what? Consistent. With consistency and perseverance, whatsoever it is that is your challenge with reading, you will overcome them with time. Trust me, you will overcome them with time. When I started, I could read 10 page or 20 pages book in 2 days, but at the time I discovered I could finish it in one day. At the time I discovered that in a week I could read like 3 books. I discovered that, okay, something like this Redeeming Love. Now I know how many days it took me to read, and some persons can read that in one day. I have a younger sibling, a younger sister at that. I'm much older than she is, but once this girl lay once this girl lay her hand on any book, she finished it immediately. I was actually encouraged by the way she read, and I took up. So another thing is try to look at people that read, make friends with them, relate with them. They can encourage you a lot. So this is the question I have for today. I hope this helps someone out there to improve. Yes, I hope it helps someone out there to improve. And for the person that asked this question, please get back to me and tell me if this is helpful or not. I can always make another video depending on if this is helpful or it is not helpful. So I see you in my next video. I am grateful for having you here. Thank you for giving me your time. And don't forget, this is FLC 5 lessons class with Didi. I just want to announce that we may have a little changes in what we do. This is solely for lessons derived from the books I read. But I think with this question, I will also have to get to answer certain questions randomly. It's not just going to be based on how to read about books or anything. Christian questions, any kind of question you ask that I know I can answer, I will answer your questions in my video, and then you get back to me to tell me how it is. But in the meantime, I just want to end it here for today. Um, Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye. Please don't forget like and subscribe. I love you.